Hey guys, it's Alex. I'm back for another Python lesson. This is lesson 2. And in this lesson we're going to go over a little bit more advanced stuff. Nothing too extreme, but I think this is going to be just basically a crash course where I'm just going to, go through things fairly quickly, and I may do a more detailed series later on, but for now I just think this will be a good introduction for a lot of you guys. And in this lesson I think we're going to go over functions and maybe a few other things. And one note that I didn't say in the last tutorial that I should say now is when you're saving your Python files, you need to always end them in .py. Otherwise the Python interpreter won't understand that they need to be run. So just a note, and let's get started. So let's start with just writing a function, because this is pretty basic, fairly easy, and it can get complicated, but for now we're just going to write simple functions. So let's write a function. Let's say function. So sorry, I'm lame. I'm thinking of a different language. So in Python you write def, which is the same thing as writing function in another language. And def defines a function. You name your function whatever you want, same just like a variable name, and you can name it like hello. I'm gonna name that because I'm uncreative today. And you'll end it with a colon, just like you would in a for loop or something like that. And that tells Python that this is the end of the definition for the function. And in the function, you can do something just as basic as saying print hello. And then to run the function, you'll go hello, because that's the function name. And these brackets right here denote that you can pass things in, and I'll define what that means later on in just a second. So let's run this real quick just to show you what this does. I mean, you can probably guess what it does right now, but let's just go Python and drag lesson 2 in. Whoops, sorry. And hit enter, and it just prints out hello, because that's all we did in this. So I'll show you what you can do in here. You can define variables in here. So I can say like let's just call this value 1, and now let's print value 1. And right now I'm gonna get an error if I run this, because I actually have to pass something in here. I can either define, let's call this a string equals value 1, and both of these do not, the names when you're passing this in like this does not matter at all. It up here is the only place it really matters, because up here you have to call it, you have to reference that value. So basically, and this doesn't matter either, you can pass in whatever value you want. You could even pass in a list if that's relevant to your function. Or you don't even have to do this. If you're really sloppy, you can just pass in a value, something like that. And if I run this now, let's go back here, it'll print a value because that's what I passed in. So that's, and this is super useful, because when you have lots and lots of functions, you'll want to pass things back and forth between the functions. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of value 1, and let's make a couple functions that do something. Let's say let's put in here number 1, and and then to put in another one, you just separate by a comma, num2, and then we're going to do return, return, and then we'll go num1 times num2. And now if we put in, 5, 10, for instance, when we run this, first of all we have to print. Actually, let me do it without printing, and I'll show you what that does, and you'll realize that this is why you need to write print all the time. So as you can see, nothing was printed. So if you put print in front of the function call, then you run it, it'll give you 50, because 5 times 10 is 50. And what this return statement does is it tells the function, this is the final value that I want to return. This is what I want. This when I call this function, this is what I want it to output, and we're just printing that output to the screen. And as a side note, the return statement always has to be the last thing that you write in the function, unless, this is the only caveat, unless you're doing if statements. If you do like if, let's say number 1 equals 3, then return 5. I don't know, something like that. Then you can do this. Otherwise, it'll return number 1 times number 2. So let's try that. Let's make this number 3 so that we can see what that does. So as you can see, it returned 5 and not number 1 times number 2. So you can do it like that, but otherwise, if you're not doing if statements, you cannot return twice, or you can't return above another return, because it just won't work. It'll throw you an error or something like that. So that's the intro to functions, and I think I'll actually end this video right now, and in the next video we'll get into a little bit more advanced stuff with functions and what you can do with them. But that's the basics of how you write them, and you can do some pretty interesting stuff by writing lots of functions and connecting them all together and that sort of thing. Same as last time, let me know if I covered something too quick, or if you didn't understand something, and I will do my best to explain it in more detail later on. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned something from this lesson. Thank you for watching.